Jordan Brennan's foot marched on the brake as rain hit heavily on the windshield. His fiancée, Vanessa, looked up from her phone, looking annoyed. But Jordan couldn't move, and he couldn't breathe either, because of who his gaze just met. He just saw Victoria, his ex-wife, crossing the street with a triple stroller, 3 babies. While the rain was pouring down, she looked exhausted. 18 months ago, they'd signed divorce papers because she couldn't have children. 5 years of trying, 3 failed IVF rounds, $120,000 down the drain. She'd walked away broken, and he'd let her go. But now she was pushing 3 babies through the rain like they were hers. And Jordan's blood ran cold. Because 6 months before their divorce, Victoria had done something she thought he'd never find out about. She donated her eggs for $8,000 to pay off their IVF debt. And if those babies in that stroller were hers, then someone had used them without her, knowing, or worse. She'd moved on and built the family she always wanted. Without him. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we'd love to know how far these stories travel. If you are Team Victoria, who don't let certain conditions they have been through to define them, then don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to get in fully. Because if stories about second chances, justice, and the families we fight for matter to you, then you're in the right place. We're building something here, and we need you with us. Now let's get into it. The horn blared behind them. Vanessa touched his arm. Jordan, the light's green. He pressed the gas pedal. The Audi moved forward, but his eyes stayed locked on the rearview mirror, watching Victoria disappear into the rain with that stroller. Who was that? Vanessa asked. Nobody. You looked like you saw a ghost. Jordan's hands tightened on the wheel. Just someone I used to know. Vanessa went back to scrolling through wedding venue photos on her phone. She'd been doing that for weeks, talking about centerpieces and cake flavors and seating charts. Jordan nodded at the right moments, said yes when he was supposed to, but his mind was somewhere else. It had been 18 months since the divorce. 18 months since he'd signed those papers in the lawyer's office and watched Victoria walk out without looking back. She'd wanted children. He couldn't give them to her. The doctors had been clear after his college hockey injury. Low sperm count, poor motility. IVF was their only option, and even that had failed 3 times. Victoria had tried to smile through it, tried to pretend it didn't matter. But Jordan saw the way she looked at babies in restaurants, the way she turned off the TV during diaper commercials, the way she cried in the bathroom at 3 in the morning when she thought he was asleep. He'd loved her. Still did, if he was honest. But love wasn't enough when you couldn't give someone the one thing they wanted most. So he'd let her go. And now she was crossing the street with 3 babies. Jordan dropped Vanessa at her apartment in Capitol Hill. She kissed his cheek and reminded him about dinner with her parents on Saturday. He nodded, smiled, said all the right things. Then he drove straight to Fremont. He parked outside the small craftsman house where Victoria used to live before the divorce. The lights were off. No car in the driveway. He sat there for 20 minutes, rain drumming on the roof, staring at the dark windows. His phone buzzed. A text from his business partner, Marcus. Client meeting moved to Monday. You good? Jordan didn't reply. He opened his contacts and scrolled to a name he hadn't called in over a year. Sam Chen. Private investigator. They'd worked together on a commercial property dispute 2 years ago. Sam was discreet, thorough, and expensive. The call connected on the second ring. Jordan Brennan, Sam said. Didn't expect to hear from you. I need information on someone. Personal or professional? Personal. Who's the target? Jordan hesitated. Victoria Brennan, my ex-wife. Sam was quiet for a moment. What do you need to know? Everything. Where she lives, where she works, financial records, and I need to know if she has children. Children? 3 of them. Infants, maybe 6 months old. That's specific. Can you do it or not? Give me 48 hours. Sam called back in 36. Jordan met him at a diner in Ballard. Sam slid a folder across the table. Your ex-wife is living in Wallingford now, small rental, works part-time at a bookstore on Broadway. Income is barely enough to cover rent. What about the babies? Sam pulled out 3 birth certificates. Caleb, Mason, and Riley Hart. Born 6 months ago. Mother listed as Victoria Hart. Father listed as unknown. Jordan stared at the names. Hart was her maiden name. She went back to it after the divorce. Who's the father? Birth certificates say unknown, but I checked her financials. No child support payments, no co-parenting arrangements on record. She's doing this alone. Jordan's chest tightened. How is that possible? She had no money when we divorced. Sam flipped to another page. She didn't, but 22 months ago, she received an $8,000 payment from New Beginning Surrogacy Services. Surrogacy? Egg donation. I pulled the contract. She donated 14 eggs. Anonymous recipient. Standard agreement. Jordan felt the air leave his lungs. So someone used her eggs to make those babies. That's what it looks like. Can you find out who? Sam leaned back. The agency's confidentiality agreements are airtight. Unless you have a court order or the recipient agrees to disclose, that information's locked. Jordan stared at the birth certificates. 3 names, 3 babies. Victoria's biological children, being raised by someone else. Or were they? Sam, Jordan said slowly. If Victoria donated eggs, and someone used them to create embryos, but then that person backed out or something went wrong, then the embryos would go back to the agency. They'd either be destroyed or offered to another recipient. What if Victoria was the one who ended up with them? Sam raised an eyebrow. You think she used her own donated eggs? I don't know, but I need to find out. Sam tapped the folder. There's one more thing. The agency has a policy. If a donor wants to reclaim their eggs within 12 months of donation, they can. But it costs $30,000. Did Victoria have that kind of money? Not from what I can see, but 6 months after the donation, there's a deposit in her account, $35,000. Source unknown. Jordan leaned back. Someone gave her the money, or loaned it. Find out who? Sam nodded. This is going to take more time, and it's not cheap. I don't care what it costs. Jordan drove to Wallingford that night. He parked down the street from Victoria's rental house and waited. The lights were on. He could see shadows moving behind the curtains. At 7:30, the front door opened. Victoria stepped out carrying a baby in each arm. A third baby was strapped to her chest in a carrier. Jordan's breath caught. She looked exhausted. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. She wore sweatpants and an oversized hoodie. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes. She loaded the babies into a minivan parked in the driveway. It took her 10 minutes. She kept dropping the diaper bag. One of the babies started crying, and she had to stop and rock him before continuing. Jordan watched her struggle, watched her do everything alone. When she finally finished and drove away, he sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel. If those were her biological children and she was raising them alone, then something had gone very wrong. Either someone had used her eggs without proper consent, or she'd gone through hell to get them back. Either way, she needed help. And Jordan was going to give it to her. The next day, Jordan went to New Beginning Surrogacy Services. The office was in a medical building in downtown Seattle. Clean, professional, expensive looking. He walked up to the reception desk. I need to speak with someone about an egg donation from 22 months ago. The receptionist smiled. Are you a recipient or a donor? Neither. I'm the ex-husband of a donor, and I need to know if her eggs were used. The smile faded. Sir, we can't disclose that information. I'm not asking for names. I just need to know if the eggs were used or destroyed. That's still confidential. Jordan leaned on the desk. My ex-wife donated eggs during our marriage. I didn't know about it. Now she's raising 3 babies alone, and I need to know if those babies came from her donation. Sir, I understand, but I'll get a lawyer. Then you'll need a court order. Jordan left. He called his lawyer, David Chen, on the way to his car. I need to subpoena records from a surrogacy agency. David sighed. Jordan, what's going on? My ex-wife has 3 babies. I think they came from eggs she donated during our marriage. I need to confirm it. Why? Because if someone used her eggs without proper consent, she has legal grounds to sue. And if she reclaimed them, I need to know how she paid for it. This is complicated, I know, and expensive. I don't care. David was quiet for a moment. I'll file the motion, but it's going to take time, and the agency will fight it. Do it anyway. While Jordan waited for the legal process to move forward, he started showing up. Not at Victoria's house. That felt like stalking. But at the bookstore where she worked. He walked in on a Tuesday afternoon. The store was small, tucked between a coffee shop and a vintage clothing boutique. Rows of used books. The smell of old paper and coffee. Victoria was behind the counter, ringing up a customer. She didn't notice him at first. Jordan grabbed a book from the nearest shelf and pretended to read. When the customer left, Victoria looked up. Their eyes met. She froze. Jordan walked to the counter. Hi. Victoria's face went pale. What are you doing here? I was in the neighborhood. No, you weren't. Jordan set the book on the counter. Can we talk? About what? About you, about the babies. Victoria's jaw tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. I saw you, Tori, at the Crosswalk, with the triple stroller. She looked away. That's none of your business. You're raising 3 babies alone. That is my business. Why? We're divorced. You moved on, I moved on. Did you? Jordan leaned on the counter. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're drowning. Victoria's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back. I'm fine. You're not. You don't get to do this, Jordan. You don't get to show up after 18 months and pretend you care. I do care. Then where were you when I needed you? The words hit like a punch. Jordan opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Victoria grabbed the book and scanned it. That'll be $12. Tori, $12. Jordan pulled out his wallet and handed her a 20. She gave him his change without looking at him. Keep the book, he said. He walked out. That night, Jordan couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the conversation in his head. The way Victoria's voice broke. The way she wouldn't look at him. He'd failed her once. He wasn't going to do it again. The next morning, Sam called. I found the money trail. Jordan sat up. Who gave her the $35,000? Not who. What? It was a lawsuit settlement. A lawsuit? Victoria sued the surrogacy agency 6 months after donating her eggs, claimed they violated her contract by disclosing her identity to a recipient without consent. Jordan's stomach dropped. Someone knew the eggs were hers and requested them specifically. The agency settled out of court for $35,000. Part of the settlement was that Victoria could reclaim her eggs and use them however she wanted. So she used them to have the babies. Looks that way. But there's more. The recipient, who originally requested her eggs, paid $85,000 to the agency. That payment was made by someone named Jordan Brennan. The world stopped. Jordan stared at the phone. What? You paid for the surrogacy, Jordan. 22 months ago. $85,000 from your personal account. That's impossible. I never... And then he remembered. 22 months ago. Right after the divorce. He'd been in therapy. Depressed, drinking too much. His therapist suggested he think about what he really wanted. What would make him happy. Jordan had said children. He wanted to be a father, but not with someone new. With Victoria's children. Children that had her smile, her kindness, her strength. He'd gone to the agency. Asked about surrogacy. They'd said it was possible, but he'd need an egg donor. Jordan had asked if they had any donors with Victoria's profile. The counselor had said she couldn't give him that information, but then she'd left the room, and her computer screen had been open. Jordan had looked. He'd seen Victoria's donor profile, seen the date of her retrieval, seen everything, and he'd requested her eggs specifically. The agency had pushed back, said it violated protocol, but Jordan had offered to pay double. triple. Whatever it took. They'd agreed. Jordan had used Victoria's eggs, his sperm, and a surrogate to create embryos. 3 of them had been viable. The surrogate had carried them to term, but 2 months before the babies were born, the surrogate had backed out. Family emergency. Contract voided. The agency had called Jordan, said the embryos couldn't be carried to term without a surrogate. They could freeze them or destroy them. Jordan had been drinking that night. He'd told them to destroy them. He couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle knowing Victoria's children existed without her. But someone at the agency had made a mistake. They'd contacted Victoria instead. Told her the embryos existed. Told her she could reclaim them if she sued for contract violation. And she had. She'd fought for those babies. Used the settlement money to pay for a new surrogate. Carried the pregnancy to term. And now she was raising them alone. Because Jordan had been too much of a coward to tell her the truth. Jordan called Sam back. "I need Victoria's address, the real one, not the rental. I need to know where she lives." "Jordan, now." Sam gave him the address. Jordan drove to Wallingford. He parked outside a small house with peeling paint and a cracked driveway. The lights were on inside. He walked up to the door and knocked. Victoria opened it. She was holding a baby. Riley, based on the blue onesie. Her face went from surprise to anger in seconds. "How did you find me?" "I hired someone." "Of course you did." "Tori, I need to talk to you." "No, it's about the babies." Victoria's grip on Riley tightened. "What about them?" "I know they're mine." Her face went white. "What?" "I know you used the eggs you donated, and I know those eggs were fertilized with my sperm." Victoria stepped back. "You're insane. I paid for the surrogacy, Tori, 22 months ago. I requested your eggs specifically. I used my sperm. Those babies are ours." Victoria's hands started shaking. "You're lying." "I'm not." "Why would you do that?" "Because I wanted to be a father, and I wanted our children." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "You had no right." "I know." "You stole my eggs." "I know." "You made embryos without my consent." "I know." "And then you walked away." Jordan's voice broke. "I told them to destroy the embryos. I couldn't handle knowing they existed. But someone at the agency contacted you instead, and you fought for them." Victoria was crying now. Full, body-shaking sobs. "I spent everything I had to get them back. I sued the agency. I found a surrogate. I did it alone because you were too much of a coward to tell me the truth. You're right. I hate you." "I know." One of the other babies started crying inside. Then another. Within seconds, all 3 were wailing. Victoria wiped her eyes. "I have to go. Let me help." "No." "Tori, get off my porch." She slammed the door in his face. Jordan stood there, listening to the babies cry, listening to Victoria try to soothe them, listening to her voice crack as she sang a lullaby off-key. He sat down on the porch steps. Rain started to fall. He didn't move. An hour later, the door opened. Victoria stood there, holding 2 babies. The third was strapped to her chest. "What are you still doing here?" "Waiting." "For what?" "For you to let me in." "I'm not going to." "Then I'll wait longer." Victoria stared at him. "Why?" "Because they're my sons, and you're my—" He stopped. "You're their mother. And I should have told you the truth 18 months ago. You think showing up now fixes it?" "No, but it's a start." Victoria looked at the babies, at Jordan, at the rain. "1 hour," she said. "You can come in for 1 hour, then you leave." Jordan stood. "Thank you." Inside, the house was chaos. Toys everywhere, bottles in the sink, laundry piled on the couch. Victoria set the babies down in 3 bouncer seats, arranged in a semicircle. "That's Caleb," she said, pointing. "Mason, Riley." Jordan stared at them. 3 identical faces. Dark hair, his nose, Victoria's eyes. "They look like you," he said. "They have your stubborn chin." Jordan knelt in front of the bouncers. Caleb reached for his finger and held on tight. "Hi, buddy," Jordan whispered. Caleb smiled, actually smiled. Jordan looked up at Victoria. Tears were streaming down her face. "I did this alone," she said. "Do you understand that? I carried them through the pregnancy alone. I was there for every ultrasound alone. I brought them home alone. I've been doing this for 6 months without help. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't change anything. I know. But I'm here now. For how long? As long as you let me." Victoria sat down on the couch. "What about Vanessa?" Jordan's stomach dropped. "What? Your fiancée, the woman you're marrying, does she know about this?" "Not yet. You have to tell her." "I will. And then what? You think you can just split your time between 2 families?" "I don't know." "Figure it out, Jordan. Because I'm not letting you walk in and out of their lives whenever it's convenient." Jordan nodded. "You're right." He stayed for an hour, helped Victoria give the babies bottles, changed Riley's diaper, rocked Mason to sleep. When he left, Victoria walked him to the door. "Are you coming back?" she asked. "Do you want me to?" She hesitated. "I don't know yet." "That's fair." Jordan walked to his car. He sat in the driver's seat and pulled out his phone. He called Vanessa. "Hey," she said. "I was just looking at flowers for the—" "We need to talk." "About what?" "About my ex-wife and my sons." Vanessa was quiet for a long time. "Your what?" Jordan told her everything. The egg donation, the surrogacy, the babies, Victoria raising them alone. When he finished, Vanessa didn't say anything. "Say something," Jordan said. "I don't know what you want me to say. I need to be in their lives." "So be in their lives. I mean full-time, co-parenting, custody, all of it." Vanessa laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. "Jordan, we're getting married in 4 months. I know. I'm not ready to be a stepmother to triplets." "I'm not asking you to be." "Then what are you asking?" Jordan closed his eyes. "I'm asking you to let me go." Vanessa hung up. Jordan sat in his car for an hour. Then he drove back to Victoria's house and knocked on the door. She opened it, surprised. "What are you doing here?" "I broke up with Vanessa." Victoria's eyes widened. "What?" "I told her about the boys, and I told her I need to be here." "Jordan, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm just asking you to let me be their father." Victoria was crying again. "Why now?" "Because I've spent 18 months trying to move on, trying to pretend I didn't love you, trying to build a life that didn't include you, and it didn't work. I don't want to marry Vanessa. I don't want a life without you and our sons. We're divorced. I know. You can't just undo that. I know. Then what do you want?" "I want to be here, every day, changing diapers, making bottles, staying up all night when they cry. I want to be their dad, Tori. Please, let me be their dad." Victoria covered her face with her hands. "This is insane." "I know. I don't even know if I can trust you." "Then let me prove it." She looked at him. "How?" "Let me move in." Victoria's eyes went wide. "What?" "I'll sleep on the couch. I'll pay rent. I'll do whatever you need. But let me be here. Let me help." "Jordan, that's crazy, I know. But so is raising 3 babies alone." Victoria stared at him for a long time. 1 month. "What?" "You can stay for 1 month. Trial basis. If it doesn't work, you leave. No arguments. Deal." Jordan moved in that night. He brought 1 suitcase and a pillow. Victoria showed him the couch and handed him a blanket. "Rules," she said. "You don't get a key. You don't answer the door. You don't make decisions about the boys without asking me first." "Understood." "And if you screw this up, you're gone." "I won't screw it up." "You already did once." Jordan nodded. "You're right, but I'm not that guy anymore." "Prove it." The first week was brutal. The boys didn't sleep. Riley had colic. Caleb had reflux. Mason cried every time someone put him down. Jordan called in sick to work. He spent 18 hours a day feeding babies, changing diapers, doing laundry, and trying to figure out why Mason hated baths. Victoria watched him struggle. She didn't help. just stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. "You're doing it wrong," she said when Jordan tried to swaddle Riley. "Then show me." She did. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency. Riley stopped crying immediately. "How did you learn that?" "YouTube, and a lot of trial and error." By the end of the first week, Jordan's back hurt from sleeping on the couch. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. He smelled like spit up, and he'd never been happier. On Friday night, Victoria made dinner, spaghetti, nothing fancy. They sat at the table while the boys napped. "You're still here," she said. "Did you think I'd leave?" "Honestly, yes." Jordan twirled spaghetti on his fork. "I meant what I said. I'm not going anywhere." "We'll see." 1 month turned into 2, then 3. Jordan started working from home. He scaled back his architecture clients, took only the projects he could manage remotely. Victoria went back to work at the bookstore part-time. They split childcare duties down the middle. It wasn't perfect. They argued about sleep schedules, about whether to use organic baby food, about whose turn it was to do laundry at 2 in the morning. But it worked. On the boy's first birthday, they had a party in the backyard. Victoria's parents flew in from Boston. Jordan's sister brought her kids. Sam, the private investigator, showed up with a giant teddy bear. Victoria stood beside Jordan, watching the boys smash cake with their fists. "They're going to be impossible to clean," she said. "Worth it." She looked at him. "You really think so?" "I know so." "Jordan, I know what you're going to say, that this is complicated, that we're not together, that we're just co-parents." "We are just co-parents. For now." Victoria shook her head. "You don't give up, do you? Not when it matters." 6 months later, Jordan and Victoria stood in family court. The judge reviewed their custody agreement, 50-50, joint legal custody, both names on the birth certificates. "This is highly unusual," the judge said. "You're divorced, but living together." "We're co-parenting," Victoria said. "In the same house. It works for us." The judge signed the papers. "Good luck. You're going to need it." Outside the courthouse, Jordan stopped Victoria on the steps. "Can I ask you something?" "What?" "Do you ever regret it? Fighting for them?" Victoria looked at him. "Every day. Because it's hard. Because I'm tired. Because I didn't sign up to raise 3 babies alone." "You're not alone anymore." "I know." She smiled. "And that's the only reason I don't regret it." 2 years after Jordan saw Victoria crossing the street with that triple stroller, they stood at the same crosswalk. The boys were 2.5 now. Caleb held Victoria's hand. Mason held Jordan's. Riley was on Jordan's shoulders, laughing. The light turned red. They waited. "You okay?" Victoria asked. "Yeah, just thinking." "About what?" "About how much can change in 2 years." Victoria smiled. "You mean how you went from corporate architect to stay-at-home dad with spit up on your shirt?" "Exactly that." The light turned green. They crossed together. On the other side, Jordan looked back at the intersection. He remembered that night. The rain, the shock, the moment his entire life changed. "Best decision I ever made," he said. "What?" "Following you, fighting for them, all of it." Victoria squeezed his hand. "You're not so bad, Brennan." "Neither are you, Hart." "It's Brennan again, actually." Jordan stopped walking. "What?" Victoria smiled. "I changed it back, last week. The boys should have the same last name as both their parents." Jordan stared at her. "Tori." "Don't read into it. It's just paperwork." "Is it?" She didn't answer. Just kept walking. Jordan caught up. "Are you saying—" "I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying we're a family, and families have the same last name." "We're a family?" "We are." "And you're not seeing anyone else?" "Are you?" "No." "Then I guess we're figuring it out." Jordan smiled. "I can live with that." That night, after the boys were asleep, Jordan and Victoria sat on the couch. She was folding laundry. He was doing dishes. "Jordan," she said. "Yeah?" "Do you ever think about what would have happened if you'd told me the truth from the beginning?" "Every day." "What do you think would have happened?" "I think you would have hated me." "I did hate you." Do you still? Victoria looked at him. No, I don't. Then what do you feel? She was quiet for a long time. I feel like we're building something. Something that doesn't have a name yet, but it's ours. I like that. Me too. Jordan set down the dish towel and sat beside her on the couch. Can I tell you something? What? I love you. I never stopped. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. Jordan, I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm just telling you. Because you deserve to. No. She wiped her eyes. I'm not ready. I know. But I'm not ready either. What does that mean? It means ask me again in 6 months. Jordan smiled. Deal. 6 months later, Jordan proposed. Not with a ring, not with a fancy restaurant. Just the two of them on the couch after the boys went to bed. Will you marry me? He asked. Again? Again. Victoria laughed. We're already married in every way that matters. Then make it official. Why? Because I want the world to know you're mine, and I'm yours, and we're a family. Victoria looked at him for a long time. Yes, yes, yes. They got married in a small ceremony. Just family. The boys were ring bearers. They dropped the rings in the grass. Everyone laughed. When Jordan kissed Victoria, Caleb made a face. Mason covered his eyes. Riley clapped. It was perfect. If you made it this far, that means something. It means you believe in second chances and in people who fight for what matters. Stories like this don't go viral on their own. They go viral when people like you care enough to share them. So if you're Team Jordan and Victoria, if you believe in parents who show up no matter what, then hit that subscribe button, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it, because these stories matter, and you matter. So what do you say? Are you in?